Okay, welcome to Let's Talk RnR, where we focus on the relationship with Christ and not the religion. I'm Anthony Stevenson. I'm here with my wonderful wife, Lisa Tate Stevenson, author extraordinaire, motivational speaker. I'm sorry, motivational conversationalist.
That's right.
She gave me a look, so I want to make sure I get that right. Motivational conversationalist.
Absolutely.
So we're going to tell you what the podcast is going to be about and what you can expect to hear.
Yeah. And why?
And why.
So for me, okay, I grew up in a household where I obviously went to church every Sunday because it was required. I went to Catholic school and it was required. But, you're young. You kind of just do what you're told. So I did. And I have a Caribbean mother. So hello. Mm-hmm. I did what I was told. So I did the religion thing. However, my grandmother, who was an amazing woman, went to any church and every church. Mm-hmm. Wherever the doors were open, she walked in. If she was invited, she never turned it away. She went through every invitation. She went through every door. She opened every book. But I would hear my grandmother at 4:00 in the morning crying out to God every time she would come to the States and spend time with us. And I never really understood it. It was something that grandma did. So it didn't bother me. I was so used to it. But as I got older and I began to realize that religion wasn't doing it for me, I understood it wasn't religion that was getting my grandmother up at 4 a.m. It was relationship. Mm-hmm. She wasn't talking to her religion. She didn't have a religion. She was talking to her God. Mm. And this woman's spirit and her mindset and the care and the love that she extended to everyone she met. It was mind-blowing. But you're young and you look at your grandma and you love your grandma, and grandma cooked for me and she kissed me and she hugged me, and I kind of went on about my business. But as I got older, those characteristics I admired the most about her, I realized came from her relationship with Christ. And I was like, you know what? Out of the two, religion and relationship, that's the one I want. Mm-hmm. I want relationship, because religion didn't matter to her. Her relationship with Christ was what got her up at 4. Mm-hmm. Is what helped her to be loving towards everyone. It's what gave her the ability to extend care to anyone that was in need until she was called home. And I can only imagine, when she got to walk through those gates and see her father. Yeah, so for me, it's huge that we discuss relationship. And we have children mm-hmm. who struggle with religion. And we want them to understand that it's about relationship. If you decide to have a religion, then that's fine. But for me, it's really important that their foundation is built on a relationship with Christ. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For me, it was really simple. When I was younger, when I was a kid, of course, I went to church as well every Sunday, Bible study. And I knew the word from a text standpoint, just from memorization, from Bible study, from my mom quoting certain scriptures. So I knew the word in a very literal sense. But my question to my mom was always, because I realized it was something different, between certain people mm-hmm. in the church. Mm-hmm. There were certain people that were there and they just seemed to be there. And then there were certain people that were there who seemed to get the Spirit and get the Holy Ghost. And
right.
And I was like, what is that all about? So my mom said, well, you have to have Jesus in your heart. And that was my biggest question was, okay, well, I know the word in my head. How do I get what I know in my head, to go into my heart?
Yeah. And
for the longest time, I won't say I struggled with that because, again, I was just doing my thing. But then I met one of my really good friends in the Air Force, my boy KC. Shout out to KC.
Not shout out KC.
I had to shout him out. That's my guy. And he was like me, young black man, cool, funny, but he was also a minister. He was an ordained minister at 20 years old.
Wow.
And I'm like, what is that all about? Right. So a lot of conversations with him. And he was the first one actually that told me about relationship, and prayer and talking to God and reading the word differently.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, fine. But I really started to understand the relationship once my mom passed away. And I actually got saved. And it was like God told me, okay, now I'm going to teach you how to get me in your heart. He said, you already know my word, but do you understand my word? Mm-hmm. And like I always say, I knew of Christ at that point.
Mm-hmm. Come on now.
But did I really know Christ? Right, and I didn't.
Right.
But now I'm getting to, and there's still so much that I don't know about him. But thank God I'm now learning who he is.
Yeah.
And it's not just some story of like Big Mama's story of who God is to her, as you said. I'm learning for myself who God is to me and in my life. So the relationship part of it is huge. And I have a friend who told me, he said the difference between relationship and religion is that he says religion is like having the blinders on and you can't really see all the glory of God. Mm. It's like a veil.
Yeah.
He said, but once you remove the veil of religion and get to the relationship of God, then you can see all the glory of God.
Yeah.
And I thought that was very profound, very powerful. So we talked about it, my wife and I, and we decided, you know what, let's have a conversation. Because there's many people out there who are turned off to God because of religion.
Yes.
And we want to break down those barriers and those walls and let them know that it's not about the religion. It's about the relationship that you have with Jesus.
Right.
That's really what it's all about. That's the foundation.
Right.
So.
And these discussions are merely opening your eyes to what a relationship could possibly look like. How much it will reveal, how much it will share, what it will show you about you. In this relationship, as you said, when we read the word now, it's different.
It's different. Yeah.
How many times do you wish you had a book on the person that you were in a relationship with? Wouldn't it make life easier?
Ooh, all the time.
Right. So now
playbook, as you call it.
But when I think about that, now I look forward to reading the word. Mm-hmm. Because now I get to learn about God in the sense of like you say, my boy.
Yeah. Yeah. I got that from Kirk Franklin.
Right.
Shout out to Kirk.
Okay.
Jesus is my homie. That's my boy. So yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
So and what we're doing, we're just having a conversation, and we're doing this to let people know that there's no structured way to have a conversation about Jesus. You can talk about Jesus, and the Spirit can lead you and guide you and do all of those wonderful things, and you can still have fun with it. You can still laugh with it. You can still, you can joke around, and it doesn't, take away from your love for Jesus and what Jesus has done and is doing right now for you. Mm-hmm. So again, when people think of Christianity and being a Christian, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that, they think about all the things that they can't do. So that, again, religion.
Yes, come on now. But relationship tells you what?
Everything that you can do.
Yes.
Everything that you get to do. So that's really the purpose of this podcast going forward. It's going to be a series of conversations on different topics, but the foundation of it will be the relationship that you have with Jesus.
So there you go.
All right. So we look forward to getting your feedback, and hopefully our conversations will help someone out there. If we reach one person, then we've done what we're supposed to do. In the eyes of the Lord, and let's have conversations. Thank you for listening to Let's Talk RnR with Tony and Lisa. Follow us on Instagram at Let's Talk RnR, where we welcome your feedback.